the first time. You might remember in September, Roy and Connie Dedman were listed as suspects, with 5 properties connected to them being searched.
On a cold February morning in the year 2000, a 9-year-old girl did something that still makes no sense to anyone who hears this story. Asha Degree, a shy, well-behaved child who was afraid of the dark and had never shown any signs of running away, walked out of her home in the middle of a violent rainstorm at 4 in the morning. She was spotted by multiple witnesses walking along a dark highway, completely alone, wearing only a white t-shirt and white pants. When drivers stopped to help her, she ran into the woods and vanished. 25 years later, investigators still cannot answer the most haunting question of all: why would a child, terrified of the dark, leave the safety of her home and walk into a storm in the middle of the night? What we're about to explore is a case so puzzling that even the FBI admits they have more questions than answers, and the few clues that exist only deepen the mystery. Asha Degree lived in Shelby, North Carolina, a small town where everyone knew their neighbors and children played outside without fear. She was the youngest child of Harold and Aquila Degree, a working-class couple who were deeply involved in their children's lives. By all accounts, the Degree family was loving and stable. Asha attended church regularly, played basketball, and was known for being responsible and rule-following. She wasn't the type of child who sought adventure or broke the rules. In fact, those who knew her said she was almost painfully obedient and cautious. This is what makes what happened next so incomprehensible. February 13, 2000, was a typical Sunday for the Degree family. Asha and her older brother O'Brien went to church, came home, and spent the afternoon doing normal family activities. That evening, the family watched television together. At around 8 o'clock, Asha and O'Brien went to bed in the room they shared. Their parents checked on them multiple times throughout the evening, as they always did. Harold Degree later told investigators that he heard Asha's bed squeak around 2:30 in the morning, which he assumed was just her turning over in her sleep. He thought nothing of it at the time. Everything seemed completely normal. But when Aquila went to wake her children for school the next morning, Asha's bed was empty. At first, the family searched the house, thinking she might be in the bathroom or had gotten up early. But Asha was nowhere to be found. The front door was unlocked. That's when the Degrees realized something was terribly wrong and immediately called the police. Within hours, a search was underway, but investigators had no idea which direction to even begin looking. Then the witnesses started coming forward. 3 separate motorists reported seeing a young girl, matching Asha's description, walking south on Highway 18, about 1.5 miles from her home, between 3:30 and 4:15 in the morning. This wasn't a quick glimpse or a questionable sighting. These were multiple, independent witnesses who saw the same thing. A small child walking alone on a dark highway during a rainstorm with temperatures near freezing. One driver, Jeff Rupp, was so concerned that he turned his truck around to try to help the child. When he approached and his headlights illuminated her, the little girl ran into the nearby woods and disappeared. Rupp called the police immediately, but by the time they arrived, there was no trace of her. The initial police response was massive. Search dogs tracked Asha's scent from her home to Highway 18, confirming that she had indeed walked that route. The dogs then followed her scent to a spot where it appeared she had entered the woods, but then the trail went cold. Helicopters, search and rescue teams, and hundreds of volunteers combed the area for days, but Asha had vanished as completely as if the earth had swallowed her whole. What investigators did find, however, only deepened the mystery. 3 days after Asha disappeared, searchers discovered a shed along Highway 18, about 1 mile from where she was last seen. Inside, they found candy wrappers that matched candy Asha had received as a Valentine's gift at school. They also found a pencil and a marker that the Degree family confirmed belonged to Asha. Most disturbing of all, they found hair ties and a Mickey Mouse hair bow that Asha had been wearing. The evidence suggested she had taken shelter in the shed, possibly for hours, before leaving again. But where did she go after that? And more importantly, why was she out there in the first place? The investigation into Asha's family revealed nothing suspicious. Harold and Aquila Degree cooperated fully with police, took polygraph tests, which they passed, and allowed their home to be searched multiple times. Investigators found no evidence of abuse, neglect, or any reason why Asha would want to run away. Her parents' phone records, finances, and backgrounds were thoroughly examined. Every angle that might suggest family involvement was explored and ruled out. The Degrees were victims, not suspects, and they have spent every day since Asha's disappearance desperately searching for answers. But if Asha wasn't running away from something, was she running towards something? This is where the case takes an even stranger turn. When investigators examined Asha's room, they noticed something unusual. Her basketball uniform was missing, along with a specific set of clothes. A family photograph was also missing from the house. It appeared that Asha had packed these items deliberately. She had taken a book bag with her when she left. This wasn't a panicked escape, it was planned. But why would a 9-year-old girl plan to leave her home in the middle of a rainstorm in the middle of the night? One theory that investigators explored was that Asha was lured out by someone she knew and trusted. Perhaps someone had convinced her to meet them, maybe promising her something or telling her some story that made sense to a child's mind. This theory gained traction when 18 months after Asha disappeared, construction workers found her book bag buried in a plastic bag near Highway 18, about 30 miles from Shelby. The bag had been double-wrapped and carefully buried, suggesting someone was trying to hide evidence. Inside were some of Asha's clothes and that missing family photograph. But here's what's so frustrating: despite this major discovery, the bag yielded no useful forensic evidence that could identify a suspect. Over the years, several strange clues have emerged that investigators have never been able to fully explain. A witness reported seeing Asha get into a dark green car, possibly a 1970s-era Lincoln Continental or Ford Thunderbird, on the morning she disappeared. However, this sighting was never confirmed and the vehicle was never located. In 2016, the FBI announced that a specific photograph found among Asha's belongings showed her wearing a distinctive Dr. Seuss shirt from a book called McKilligot's Pool. The Degree family insisted they had never seen this shirt before and didn't know where it came from. The FBI released the image publicly, hoping someone would recognize it, but to this day, children don't typically respond to losing a basketball game by packing a bag and walking into a storm at 4 in the morning. There had to be something more, something that made sense in Asha's mind that we still cannot see. The FBI continues to classify Asha Degree's case as an endangered missing child investigation. In recent years, they've released new information and new appeals for public help. In 2021, on the 21st anniversary of Asha's disappearance, the FBI held a press conference announcing a renewed investigation and revealing that they had preserved potential DNA evidence from items found at the scene. Technology has advanced significantly since 2000, and investigators hope that modern forensic techniques might finally provide the breakthrough they desperately need. They've also emphasized that someone, somewhere, knows something about what happened to Asha Degree. What makes this case so uniquely disturbing is how many pieces don't fit together. Asha was afraid of the dark, yet she left in the darkness. She was obedient and cautious, yet she left her home without permission. She was seen walking alone, apparently of her own free will, yet she ran from adults who tried to help her. She packed a bag, suggesting planning, yet she walked out into dangerous weather wearing inadequate clothing. Every answer we have about this case creates two more questions. Partly because of how unusual it is, and partly because her family has never let the public forget about her. But as the years pass, the likelihood of finding answers decreases. Witnesses' memories fade, evidence degrades, and people who might have known something pass away without ever speaking up. Time is both the investigator's enemy and, paradoxically, sometimes their ally, as guilt or changing circumstances sometimes prompt people to reveal secrets they've kept for decades. If you have any information about the disappearance of Asha Degree, no matter how insignificant it might seem, the FBI wants to hear from you. It challenges everything we think we know about how children behave and why they go missing. It reminds us that sometimes the scariest mysteries aren't the ones with obvious monsters. They're the ones where a normal day turns into a nightmare for reasons we can't comprehend. Somewhere out there, someone knows what happened to that little girl on that rainy February morning. Someone knows why she left. Someone knows where she went. And until that person speaks up, Asha's family will continue their impossible vigil, waiting for answers that may never come. If this case moved you, if you found yourself drawn into this mystery and wanting to know more about unsolved cases that continue to baffle investigators, then please subscribe to this channel. We dive deep into the stories that true crime documentaries often overlook, the cases where dedicated investigators refuse to give up despite the odds. Hit that like button to help this video reach more people, because cases like Asha's need visibility. The more people who know her story, the greater the chance that someone, somewhere, will remember something crucial. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation, and please share this video. You never know who might see it, someone who has been carrying a secret for 25 years and is finally ready to speak. Together, we can keep Asha's story alive and keep the pressure on to find the truth. Thank you for watching, and remember, every missing person is someone's whole world. Asha Degree is still out there somewhere, and her family deserves answers.